All right, everybody, with that being said, let's move on to my favorite part of the show, gun talk. And today during gun talk, I want to discuss 10 millimeter ammunition. Because I got an email from a viewer who asked me, what is the role of 10 millimeter in self-defense? Should it be my go-to caliber? Is it the best caliber for self-defense? Is it good in revolvers, semi-autos? Is it too much for self-defense? A whole bunch of stuff they asked. So today I want to address the role of 10 millimeter in self-defense. Now, my own personal opinion, and remember, this is just my opinion. And since it is only my opinion, that means it is, of course, undeniable fact because I am a self-proclaimed internet gun expert. So keep that in mind when I'm giving you my opinion. But my opinion about 10 millimeter is that it is one of the optimal semi-automatic handgun cartridges you can have, period. It is not too much for self-defense. There is legal precedent on the books now that say you will not face extra scrutiny because you used 10 millimeter. So it's perfect if you're carrying a semi-auto. It only becomes a real problem when people start thinking, well, since it's such a great round in semi-autos, it must be something I want my revolver chambered in. No. I hear all people all the time, when is Chiappa going to make a 10 millimeter revolver? Well, I'm like, well, why would they? They already make 357 Magnum. The 10 millimeter would have no advantages over the 357 Magnum version. Unless they completely redesigned the frame and made it a little shorter so the gun would have a little bit smaller dimensions overall, which they're not going to do because it's not cost effective. So there's really no reason to have 10 millimeter in a revolver. When you get into revolvers, there's better calibers, more powerful calibers. And since you're going to be limited to the same number of rounds in the cylinder because you're limited by cylinder diameter, not magazine size or grip size, it's not going to really be beneficial. But in semi-autos, where your other options are like 40 and 9 millimeter, etc., the 10 millimeter is going to be more powerful and hold almost as many rounds because the capacity is dependent on the grip size, magazine size, which if the gun can just be a little bit taller and hold just as many rounds as like 9 millimeter. And it can be the same size and hold just as many rounds as a 40. Just means the depth of your grip's going to be a little bigger. So, and that's not a big change. So really, 10 millimeter is a great self-defense round. And it is what I would consider an optimal semi-automatic round. Especially better than like 9 millimeter and 40, etc. Even though those are good, competent rounds, 10 millimeter just has lots of advantages. And I don't really consider things like, Beowulf and all these other things, these weird boutique calibers you can go to as being all that great for self-defense. For one, usually the kits aren't that reliable, the rounds aren't that available, etc. 10 millimeter checks pretty much all the boxes. Availability, versatility, variety, power, etc. So when it comes to semi-autos, 10 millimeter is awesome and will be probably the best option in my opinion until something like 7.5 Berno or something, or 7.5 FK becomes popular and becomes available. 10 millimeter, until something like that happens, 10 millimeter is going to be the optimal round as far as I'm concerned when it comes to self-defense in semi-autos. But that doesn't mean it's the optimal round all across the board. Everyone knows 357 Magnum, once again, my opinion, so complete fact, is the best self-defense round. So as long as you're looking at semi-autos, 10 millimeter checks all the boxes, as I said, has every advantage. It's just awesome round, one of the best rounds made in a very long time. So it's great. It's what you should go to in my opinion. Don't worry about it being too powerful. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about that. It's not that super expensive. None of those things. So it's great. Unless, of course, like I said, you carry a revolver and then it ain't so great.